So now I'm going to tell you guys the story of how I actually made these cards in the first place, and the story of how they were produced, how I got the idea, and everything in between. So I am Margaret Flock. I'm a yoga teacher here in Atlanta, and most of my work is private classes. So I go around to the person's house and I will analyze what they are experiencing physically, and then I will design a practice that is specific for them. So this allows them to get more than just going to a yoga class, because you have that benefit of a professional analyzing your needs and then giving you something more specific. I got certified in Yin Yoga about 1.5 years ago, and it completely changed my life. It is something that I've been practicing on my own. I was looking for a way to resolve my emotional tension, and that is something that Yin is very good at. I was going to therapy and I was doing my journaling, but a lot of times there is just some underlying tension that we don't even know is there until we actually stretch and realize that it's there. When we actually take the time to release that, there are things that come up out of the subconscious mind. And the yoga philosophies kind of talk about it in this way with the mind-body connection. Yoga is the fusion of the mind, body, and soul. So when there is a disturbance on the mental level or emotional level, it gets reflected back in the body. I see the process of emotional healing happening holistically this way. We have to address all three if we're gonna wanna make movement. And so as I continued to teach yoga, I kept getting people requesting tension relief in very specific areas of the body. And I realized that these people were not getting it in regular yoga classes. But the Yin practice, we can actually address those specific areas and really give it the attention that it deserves. The stretches are held between 3 to 5 minutes. So you can imagine how deep into those connective tissues we get. Realize that this is a way that I can help people. But for some reason, just more and more people started coming to the Yin class. And I started offering it privately, and more people started hearing about it, and it kind of just snowballed from there. And then I had one client who was more of a visual learner, and she requested that I send her photos of what we practiced rather than just brief descriptions. And at first I was just pulling images that I found off of Google, until I was like, you know what? I may as well just take a bunch of photos on my own. Worst case scenario, I'll upload them to Instagram or social media, whatever. And I got my boyfriend out in the front yard and just started taking photos of every single Yin pose. And around the same time, I think there was another friend that I had on this app that was saying about digital cards, like creating a guide of an online card deck. And I thought, you know what? I could put this in an online card deck and put it out to people in that format. I bet people would actually learn. After my private classes, I do send them a recap of everything that we practiced. And I realized that I can actually make each card as like a little mini recap of that pose. And then I realized that this can actually be a really practical tool for people. If I came out with an actual physical deck, people can actually look at the deck and go through, see where they're experiencing tension in their body, and almost like I'm in the room with them, they can read the cards in the same way that I would normally teach one of my private clients. So it became a way for me to kind of guide people to practice at home when I'm not there, but it's also now a way for you guys to have private yoga without hiring a private yoga teacher or personal yoga, that is. And I want to show you guys the cards. So this was the card deck that I just published. if you guys have been following me, you know, if you're new here, this is a complete guide to Yin Yoga. And the first several cards are all the different instructions, what it is, how to do it, the safety guidelines, everything. So you can really learn about this on your own. You never have to go to a yoga class again if you don't want to. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm just saying this is a really good way to start. And then lower body target areas and upper body target areas. So take these cards and use them to identify where you're holding tension, and then you can pick a stretch from this list. And then we get into the pose cards. These are the restorative poses, which the category is down here. Let's see, category. And then we get into the counter poses. And then we get into the actual yin poses. And those categories, when you actually buy your deck and read about the instructions, they correlate to the 3 steps in the process. So first we stretch, second we rest, and third we move around to break the tension. And so that's what that's really referring to. And then as you can see on the bottom of these cards, first of all, there's that suggested transition. So you do the yin pose, and then you can pick really whatever's restorative pose or whatever counter pose you want. But if you don't know, they're right here. And then you have the target area there. So let's just say, for example, where am I feeling tension? I'm kind of feeling tension in my hips right now. So I can go to the outer hip, and as you can see, there are a list of poses to choose from. So you can do it that way, or you can simply look at the target areas at the bottom here and just kind of like shuffle through the cards to pick poses from your desired target area. And so like, let's just say you only have 5 minutes today, but you want to have open hips. You can pick the one that is symmetrical. So that's butterfly. All these other ones, you're going to have to repeat the same thing on the other side. But I only have 5 minutes today, so I'm going to pick butterfly. And that's how you guys can really do it. The beautiful thing about cards is I am obsessed with like paper. And I used to actually work in a paper store. And I think that there is a lost art with paper products because we are so online these days. But I think especially with the practice of yoga, being grounded in the physical present moment is what is going to take your practice to the next level. And it's a constant practice. I am not perfect with it. It's a constant practice, but being in the moment is really the key. So these cards kind of bring us off of the screens and allow us to be in the moment. The other thing that I'm kind of exploring is shuffling cards, like kind of like a tarot deck shuffle. And like, I don't know, maybe I don't know what kind of stretch I want to do. Oh my God, which one should I do? Oh, wow. Dragon came up, so maybe that's a sign I need to do dragon. But you see what I mean? There's just different ways that you can use it. And I just thought, what a better way to innovate the practice than to help people do this on their own. Why do we need to have expensive yoga studio memberships? This information should be as accessible as possible. And that is also where I stand with my business and with this channel. So everything, even if somebody had no money, they can watch all of the videos on my YouTube page. If they had that time, they can go through and do any of the free YouTube practices on my channel. They can learn about it on their own. They can get the digital copy of this. But because this does take money to produce, I have to charge more for these. So these are $38 for a deck of cards. And in a way, if you think about it, it's almost like buying a drop-in at a yoga studio. But this class is the class that keeps on teaching, like the gift that keeps on giving. The class that keeps on teaching is how I see it. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a day. Give a man a fish and you feed him for a lifetime. And that's how I see this deck of cards. So yeah, that is sort of how my business is going to be structured. And this is going to serve people of all demographics. So there will be luxury services. If you are wanting that private class, that personal touch, we can hop on Zoom. I offer that here as well. But if you're just wanting to dip your toes in, you're wanting to learn this on your own, you are more independent, get the deck of cards. And I'm going to link all this down below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, for subscribing, and I will be doing a launch party later this week. Join me Friday, 12 p.m. YouTube Live. Be there or be square. All right, I'll see you guys soon.